Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om, I bow to the Lord Vasudeva. This is the second brief introduction to a series of classes, I might call them, or commentaries, sessions in which I'm going to be discussing Paramhansa Yogananda's commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. I wrote a book on his commentaries called The Essence of the Bhagavad Gita. These commentaries will be based on those. The Bhagavad Gita, as I said last time, is one of the great scriptures of the world. In many ways it's the greatest because it's the most condensed and amazingly clear description of man's ascent from matter to the heavens and to union with God. But in fact, the whole Mahabharata, of which the Bhagavad Gita is taken, describes the descent also, how man is allegorical, but how man came from spirit, how man was manifested through vibration in material form, and how he gambled. Shakuni, who in the story of the Mahabharata was a trick gambler, and Yudhishthira gambled away everything by this trickery. And so we gamble away our happiness and our peace of mind and everything, playing with the desires of this world. It's a gamble that we can never lose. Many people think, oh, well, I won't be hurt by this, I won't be hurt by that. Don't play that game, it's not safe. The thing is, the dice are loaded. You can't trust your own mind. You can't get out of delusion just by thinking your way out of it. And so the Bhagavad Gita tells you different cues. It's full of secrets for how to get out of delusion and to discover your own highest reality. Now, the greatest tool of all, the greatest influence of all, is the Guru. And the Bhagavad Gita has this conversation, this dialogue between Krishna, who represents God, who in turn represents, or I should say the Guru represents God, and Krishna represents the Guru and God. And Arjuna represents the devotee. In history, Arjuna was a great master himself. But it's interesting how in this story, he presents himself to Krishna just as the humble devotee in need of instruction. And it's a wonderful dialogue. But why do we need a guru is one of the first questions everybody asks. I read an article in the Times of India a few years ago which said that in this day of widespread literacy, people don't need gurus. They can always go to a bookstore and buy a book on the subject, or go to a library and take a book out. They don't understand that a guru is not somebody who is merely there to give you intellectual teaching. He's not there to answer intellectual questions. In fact, you'll never understand reality by the intellect alone. And this is why the sage Patanjali defines yoga, or union with God, as yogas chitta vritti nirodha, which is to say yoga, or union with God, is the neutralization of the little eddies or whirlpools of ego, of feeling, I should say. Vritti, chitta is the word for feeling. There are four aspects of mind. Sri Yukteswar explained them this way, that you've got a horse reflected in a mirror. The mirror is the mind. This is why in the Mahabharata, and you find it described here in the very first stanza of the Bhagavad Gita, blind Dhritarashtra. The mind is blind because it doesn't decide, it merely receives impressions from outside. This is the aspect of the mind that is sort of the blank slate on which everything is written. Then comes the intellect. Mon, buddhi, ahankar, chitta. Mon is the mind. Buddhi is the intellect. And the intellect looks at this image of a horse in the mirror and says, oh, that's a horse. Well, you're not bound by that definition. The ego then comes in and says, oh, that's my horse. And still you're not really bound, because you can see a thing as yours and know that you have responsibility to it, but you may not be attached to it. Attachment comes in when feeling comes in. Feeling is of the heart. And when feeling says, oh, how happy I am to see my horse, then you're caught in delusion. The horse was non-existent. The definition was non-existent. The egoic attachment was non-existent. Everything is a dream of God. Nothing is real. But when you become attached to the dream, that's when the dream can hold you. And how long will it hold you? Just as long as you like. Because there are infinite number of byways in which you think, oh, I'll find this fulfillment here and that fulfillment there. You'll never find fulfillment except in the self. One time Yogananda, when he wanted to start his school in Ranchi, he went to the Maharaja of Kashim Bazar and asked him if he would give him land to have it on, to found it on. And the Maharaja wanted to test his knowledge. So he had a group of pundits come in. Well, Yogananda was a young man and was not a scholar. And he said that there they were, all ranged against me, ready for a spiritual bullfight. And Yogananda said, let's not talk about anything that we've learned in the scriptures. Let's talk about what we have realized. And, of course, that took all the wind out of their sails, because that's all the understanding they had was intellectual knowledge. He said the scriptures say that these four aspects of mind, Mun, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta, they have their corresponding location in the body. Can you tell me what they are, what those locations are? And they of course, were stumped. He said, well, Mun, the mind, is centered here at the top of the head. Buddhi is centered between the eyebrows. And that's why when you try to think deeply or reason, you tend to knit your eyebrows. Ego is centered here in the medulla oblongata. And that's why when people are egotistical, they sort of look down their noses, because tension draws their energy back here. You look down your nose, or see everybody is beneath your nose, as they say in Italian, sotto il naso. And then when you feel love, you feel it in the heart. Feelings are centered in the heart. You'll never find a love-sick swain saying, oh, my knee is broken, when he's disappointed in love. But they all will say, I have a broken heart, or I feel very badly in my heart. The heart is the center of feeling. Now, without feeling, you don't have anything. Everything in modern civilization emphasizes intellect. You don't understand things until you've understood them by your own experience, which begins in the heart. So the Bhagavad Gita, above all, stresses the heart. And I want to talk next time, again, about the importance of the Guru in helping to change your level of consciousness from Chitta to infinite consciousness, Satchidananda. God bless you.